Hello everybody, it's Elena, and in today's video we are building this really large mansion that I built for a family in the world of Brindleton Bay in The Sims 4, obviously. And we are building it on this rather nice 30 by 40 lot, and I think it's so pretty. The view is absolutely immaculate, and I love this area of Brindleton Bay. I think it's called Whiskerman's Wharf or something, and it's just really cozy. It's so cute, and I don't know, it's just like the best part of Brindleton Bay in my opinion. I love it a whole lot, and this house is of course very large because, as I did say, it is a mansion, so it's bound to be quite big. And I managed to fit in a total of 6 bedrooms and 5 bathrooms, and in total you can sleep 10 Sims in here, so that's definitely very large in my opinion. And of course, like, if you don't have mods that allow you to have more than 8 Sims in a household, you can't have 10 Sims in here. But if you do have those mods and you're looking for a house where you can live with all of your Sims in, this house might be the one for you. Maybe, perhaps, I don't know. But yeah, I think it's very nice, and I had a really good time building it. And this house consists of like the main part, the main home thing, something like that. And then we've got a greenhouse which sort of like connects the house to the other side of it, because there's like this little annex sort of thing is what I think I would call it. And it's just like an addition to the house, I guess. And in that part of the house we have like a separate little home, perhaps. Like, it's basically its own little apartment, and there's like a bed in there, and there's a bathroom, there's a dining table, and a little tea kitchen. So it's basically its own little like fully functioning home. So I think it's really nice, and my idea for it was that these people have like a live-in nanny or an au pair. Wait, do nannies live in the houses that they work in? Like, do they stay with the people that they are working for, or do they live somewhere else and just like go to work every day? I don't really know. I don't have any experience having nannies like in real life, so I don't know these kinds of things. But I do know that au pairs, they live with the people that they are working for. So I was kind of thinking that since these people definitely have a lot of money, since they live in a mansion in this really nice area of Brindleton Bay and have this awesome view, I definitely feel like they have a bunch of money, so they would definitely be able to afford to have an au pair or like a nanny, something to like help them out with their everyday life, I guess. And they also have a lot of kids, so I feel like it's definitely super beneficial for them to have someone to help them take care of the kids. But yeah, I was just imagining that the au pair or something lives in that part of the house, and it's a really nice little like suite or something for itself, and the person or the people that are living in that part of the house basically just like have their own little space, so they have a bunch of privacy and can just like, you know, get away from the rest of the household for some time if they need that, if they just like need to be by themselves for a little bit, because that's a thing that people need sometimes, especially if they're super introverted, you know, like me. So yeah, I thought that would be a good idea, and I think that's super cute. Of course, you can also live there like in that little annex sort of thing with some relatives of the main family. Like, maybe one of the parents have a sibling that wanted to come stay with them, and they live in that little part of the house or something. I don't really know, but I was just thinking that it's for an au pair or something. So I think that's really nice. And that part of the house also has a little tower, and in the tower I decided to furnish a sort of art room on the second floor of it. So there's like a little ladder going up to it, and there's just an art easel and some plants and a nice view, so they can paint the water, or just, I don't know, look at something nice while they paint something else, I guess. I don't know, I just figured it would be a nice little place to have an art studio. So I put that up there so the tower could be functional and it wasn't just completely wasted space, although the third floor of the tower is not used for anything because I didn't really know what to put up there, or if I even could put something up there. I don't really think it would work with the like ladders if I did put something up there. But yeah, I don't know, I didn't bother to even like test it or anything. I just put something on the second floor and called it a day, I guess. But yeah, as I said, this house is really large and sleeps a total of 10 Sims if you want to like live with every single Sim that you possibly can fit into this home. I don't know if you want to do that. That kind of sounds like a nightmare to me. I'm not really the type of person who loves to play with really large households. I get quite overwhelmed when I have more than like 4 Sims in a household. I think that's definitely too much for me. But yeah, I totally respect it if you do like to play with large families. That's so cool. But let me just give you a bit of a verbal walkthrough of the rest of the house, like the regular part, the main part of the home, I suppose. Because on the first floor, we just like have the kitchen, we have a dining room, and we have the living room, you know, all of the common spaces. And then I also put the greenhouse, as I did mention. And there's a little office and 2 bathrooms, I think like 1.5 bathrooms. And there's like a little like walk-through library sort of deal. Like, oh, I feel like I'm making it sound a lot more fancy than it is. It's basically just a hallway that I put a lot of bookcases in because I figured that these people would be avid readers for some reason. I don't know, I just wanted to put a bunch of bookcases in this house, so I definitely think that I did. But yeah, they have like I don't know, a bunch of room on the first floor. And then there's also another bedroom down there, and I was imagining that it's probably just a guest bedroom. The way I furnished it is not very personalized in any way. I made it very neutral and just kind of like relaxing, so I was definitely thinking that it would be a guest bedroom, but obviously you could have someone live in that room full time if that's what you want to do. But yeah, that is just like an extra bedroom that you have in the house, and there are 2 sleeping spots in that room. And if we go upstairs in our little verbal walkthrough, I guess, we have the second story where there's a teenage bedroom for 1 teenager, and there's the parents' bedroom that fits 2 Sims, and we've got 2 bathrooms up there, and there's also a toddler bedroom that fits 2 toddlers, and there's a kid's bedroom for 1 child. And if I'm not mistaken, that makes it 10 Sims in total because you can fit 2 Sims into the little annex. So yeah, I think that's 10 Sims, but I could be wrong. Although I think it is because there are 6 bedrooms in total, as we talked about, and in 4 of them you can sleep with 2 Sims, so that should add up to 10 in total with the 2 bedrooms that can only fit 1 Sim in them. Yeah, that's 10. Anyway, would it not just be super embarrassing if I got that completely wrong? I mean, like, I know I didn't get it wrong because obviously 4 times 2, that's 8, and then plus 2, that's 10 in total. You know, that's simple math. First grade math even. So it is true, but like, imagine if I didn't get it wrong and it was like 12 or like 9 or something. That would be so humiliating, and I was just like sitting here insisting that it was 10. That would not be good. But I do know some things. I am a little bit smart sometimes. No. That's not true. Anyway, but yeah, I don't know, I like this house a lot, and I hope you all like it too. So I don't know, that's that, I guess. But this is a pretty long video, so I do have a story planned for you all, and it's actually like a bit of an update, I would say, to some stories that I've told in the past. And if you have like seen a lot of my videos, you might know exactly what I'm talking about now. I'm talking about my stupid pause. But this is kind of like a good update because okay, so I guess I kind of like need to give you a bit of a recap. It's not like a full recap because it's a long and very, very complicated story, but the gist of it is that I really dislike my boss, and she's very like emotionally manipulative, and she's just like not a good person. And I've told a bunch of stories about her on here, and just like about her, who she is and like what she's like and how she treats other people, because it's just like so baffling to me. And she has been like relatively okay to me, like it's just the emotional manipulation that really, really gets me. And she's just like not super nice to me and is very like inconsiderate of me, I guess. And that's what I have a problem with in terms of like myself. But also what I've talked about a lot is just how she treats other people and how she just like is super crazy. I don't know, she's just like a wild person, so out of pocket. Like everything she does is just so wild and baffling, and she just like does crazy things all the time. Like I don't know, she's wild. And one of my favorite little stories to tell about her, just to like make people understand what kind of person we're talking about, is the one about how her husband died and then she broke up with her boyfriend, and she asked my dad to help her set up a new dating profile all within 1 week. Like all of these 3 pretty major life events happened within 1 week, like 7 days. Yeah, she's kind of like a crazy lady, and she's just wild. She's in her mid-70s, and I work for her as a cleaner, and I have been working for her for like a year and a half by now, and for the first, I would say probably 8 months or something like that, I was pretty happy with it because like she's not a good person, obviously, as I've said, but she is like fine to me, and she was just okay, you know. We just had little, you know, small talk conversations when I was there, and for the most part she wasn't actually there when I was working for her because she was out and about, and I don't know, things were fine at that point. And then she started to get a little bit more sick, or well, she started to get very, very sick, and she obviously was not able to just go out all the time, so she was home a lot, of which I understood because obviously her health comes first, and she's more than allowed to be home in her own house. That's totally fine. However, what I did have a problem with was her boyfriend, because as she got more sick, she needed more people to like come around to her house and help her out. So her boyfriend would stay over at her house a lot, and he would be there when I was cleaning, which I really just did not like, and really just don't like, because I don't like this man. He's such a creep, and he's so like weird and just very uncomfortable to be around. So I really, really disliked that. But for the first few months, like 8-ish months or something, that I worked for her, I really did enjoy it. Not because like cleaning is a glamorous or fun job in any way, because of course it's not, but I did enjoy the fact that I got to help out this woman who didn't really have anybody in her life to help her. Like I got to clean her house when she couldn't do that herself, so it gave me like some sense of purpose, and I don't know, I feel like I was doing a good deed by helping her out this way. But as her boyfriend started to come around more often, and as she started to just act more crazy and just act up a lot more, that little like feeling of getting to help her out started to just dwindle, because I didn't really care that much about that anymore, because she was just like treating me quite badly. So I started to just not like the job at all, and I really just wanted to quit. And I've tried to quit so many times, like 5 or 6 times, where I've texted her like saying that I needed these few things to like change within the job, or I'm gonna stop working for you because I cannot handle that. And one of these things that I needed to like not happen anymore was this boyfriend being around, because he is such a creep, and he's been really, really weird around me. And then like I said, if he's not leaving, then I'm leaving, you know, then I'm not gonna work for you anymore. And then she said that he was not gonna be around the house while I was cleaning from then on. And we've had a lot of conversations like that, where I've tried to set some boundaries and she has just like disregarded them, or I've like tried to quit, or she has said no, please just like keep helping me, whatever, like I really needed. And then I've been like made to feel like I had to stay, even though that's not at all a thing that I wanted. So I've just like felt very resentful of her for a very long time, because I don't like her and I don't like her boyfriend, and they are just weird people. However, recently things have changed, and I'm pretty sure they've changed for the better, although I don't really know for sure. I still have to figure that out, I guess. But before I tell you about that, I just have 2 little pieces of background information that I need to give you, I think, for it all to make sense, because this is all just like really, really messy. But in my last video that I talked about her in, I guess, I said that she had kicked out her boyfriend from her house because he had moved into her house. And also I did say that earlier this year, in like January or something, she had also kicked him out, but then he moved her back in because apparently that seemed like a good idea to them. But in August, when I posted that video, she had just recently kicked him out of the house again. However, did that last more than a few days? No, of course it didn't, because nothing she does lasts, and nothing is permanent in her world, and she just like changes things up so often. So it's not really a surprise that she wasn't super serious about this, but you gotta like understand that this woman, like I heard the 2 of them having a pretty like loud verbal fight through the walls, because I'm her neighbor. She lives right next door, and if she's like yelling and whatever, I can hear her. So I heard this verbal fight, and it sounded quite serious. And then like later on that night, she texted my dad, and she was like telling my dad that this man, her boyfriend, was a creep, and he's gross, and he's controlling, and so many like really, really negative things about him. And she was like explaining to my dad why she was kicking him out and why she didn't want to have him live with her anymore, which I understand, because I also think he's annoying and really weird and gross, so I would not want him to live with me either. But yeah, she said those things to my dad, and she seemed very serious about kicking him out, but that only lasted for I think a few days or something, and then he was back in her house again. I don't really know. But also, like, another thing is, if you haven't seen those videos, like, she is very, very weird, and she overshares a lot, and she posts literally like everything on Facebook, and she shares shares everything with me and my family. Like, we never ever tell her anything personal, but whenever I'm there, she just like gossips about her friends and her family, and she tells me about all the gossip that's going on, or like all the drama that's going on in her life, which I quite enjoy because I do think that's really funny. So I do enjoy when she like tells me about that. I think it's very, very entertaining, and I do like that part of my job. But yeah, she's just like such an oversharer, and I don't think she really realizes that she only ever talks about herself and we never share anything back. It's basically like just her talking and we just listen, I guess. I don't really know, but we never ask her any questions. She just like says stuff, and then I was like burdened with this information of her and her boyfriend being in this big ol' like argument. Well, I heard that through the walls, but I was burdened with the knowledge that she had kicked him out. And then a few days later, when I went into her house to clean, I was just like supposed to act like nothing had happened because they were fine and whatever again. So yeah, anyway, that was really, really weird, but basically I'm trying to say that he's back in her house and he's living there again, which is important to the rest of the story. And then also, I think in like March or something of this year, probably like January to February, March or something like that, earlier this year, when he was also living in the house. I think this was like one of the first times I was cleaning at her house after he had moved in the first time, so I was not used to like seeing his stuff around and whatever. Oh, and another like pretty weird thing is that, well, I guess it's not weird, but you know how like old people oftentimes have a whole lot of furniture and they have a lot of stuff in their houses? Yeah, this lady also has that. She has so many things, so much furniture, so many like knickknacks everywhere. She just like has so much clutter every single little spot in her house, and it's so difficult to clean her house because there's so much stuff around and you can barely like get the vacuum machine around the rooms. It's so difficult, right? But then like after this man moved in, he also had a bunch of furniture that apparently had to be in the house, so it just made it a lot more difficult to clean it. And that was super fun. And the thing about this woman is that she's a very proper lady and she's very clean and proud. So even like when she was at her like most sick moments in time, whenever I was in her house to clean it, she had already like made the bed and like nothing was really out of order, and she wouldn't like leave the toilet seat up, stuff like that. Like clothes were never on the floor, like it was always clean. I just like had to clean it up, like it was always tidy, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, she never like left any messes around, and whenever I come into her house, she's always like apologizing about how like messy and how dirty it is in there, even though like my job is to clean your house. Like you don't have to apologize for that, you know? Basically, she's just like a really, really proper lady, and her boyfriend is the complete opposite of that. So the first time that I went into her house to clean it after he had moved in, I was just kind of like surprised because I was not used to like it being messy, and I was just not used to like clothes lying around and stuff like that. And then I went into one of these spare bedrooms because her house is very large, especially for just like 1/2 people. It's way too big for them. It's 3 stories big, so a large house, and they have a bunch of bedrooms that they just don't use at all. So I went into one of those, and it's very closed off in there because I don't think they ever really opened the doors because the cats are for some reason not allowed to go in there. But I went in there to clean, and I was just like met with this disgusting smell. It like reeked of urine in there, and I was so disgusted with it because I had never like experienced anything like that in her house. I mean, it was always like not very pleasant to be in her house because it was kind of smelly, and the air was very like heavy and tight because she never aired out her house and stuff like that. So it was never pleasant to breathe in her house, but it never reeked of urine. However, it did this day. And then I looked at the floor and I saw a pair of dirty underpants lying there, and I was just like disgusted because I did not know what to do about it. And I was supposed to like vacuum the floor and also wash the floors, and I didn't know how to go about that because I didn't want to touch his underwear, and I didn't want to like put it somewhere else. I didn't want to like put my fingers on his dirty underwear, and I knew that they were dirty because it reeked of urine. And it was just so gross. And I remember talking to my parents about it because I was just so upset about it, and it was just like so weird, and I don't know, I was really, really upset with her at this point as well because like she was just really starting to get on my nerves. But then like this like underpants thing happened, and I just got really, really upset. But yeah, I told my parents about it, and I really just like wanted that to not happen again, but I didn't want to tell her about it because I knew that she would be absolutely humiliated if she knew that something like that had happened in her house, because she is such a proper person and she would never ever let that happen. So for that reason, I knew that she was not aware that these underpants were there, and I didn't want to embarrass her by telling her. But I don't know, I was really upset that they were there and it really bothered me. So that's just like a little bit of context that you needed in order to kind of like understand my thoughts and whatever about what I'm about to tell you. So about a month ago, I decided that I would try to think of a very like foolproof way to quit because I really just wanted to get out of this situation. Like, I had been treated so badly for a very long time, and I was really sick of that. So I really just wanted to quit this job, and a way that I thought would be a very like a good and diplomatic and fair way to quit this job was to do it very far in advance. So basically in the, I think like middle of August, so about a month ago by now, I texted her and I told her that around like the middle of October I was not going to be able to work for her anymore because I was going to be very busy from that time and onwards, which is completely true. That is not like a lie or anything like that, but I just like told her that it was because I didn't have the time to clean for her anymore. And I also told her that she could always just like reach out to me if she ever needed like help with the cats and I needed to like come help her with some stuff. And I said it in like a very kind way, and I was very like nice in this text message that I sent to her while I was quitting. And I was really nervous about it because, as I said, like I have sent a bunch of like almost quitty text messages to her where she's just not responded well at all, and she's gotten very like defensive and gotten very rude to me almost. So I was very nervous to see her response to this, but I just like decided that I would not let it bother me. So I sent the message and then I did not touch my phone at all. And what I was really nervous about in terms of this message was that she would just completely disregard it and just respond to like one or two things in the message and just completely ignore the rest of it, because in the past when I've texted her like long heartfelt messages, she's just like ignored the most important points and has just like focused in on like some minor points in my messages. So I really wanted to make this message like short, and I wanted it to say exactly what needed to be said. So I did that, but then I just like added some nice words here and there, so it was like kind and whatever. But yeah, I sent her the message and I was really nervous, but then after a few hours when I picked up my phone again, I saw to my surprise that she had responded to it, and she just said, okay, that's cool, I fully get it. And then I was like, okay, that's great. Like, was it really that easy? Because that's so weird. Like, nothing has ever been this easy with this woman, but I was just so happy about that. But then I think 2 days after, when I went into work for her again, I was a little bit nervous about it because I had like not talked to her in person since I sent her this message. And when I got there, the boyfriend was still there, but then she said that he was going to be leaving in like a minute, because that's typically how it goes. Because like when I'm there, he's like there in the beginning, and then he leaves to give me room, because like after I had told her like 3 times or something that I would not work while he was there, she finally started to respect that. Anyway, but yeah, he was there and he opened the door for me to let me in, and he did not like look me in the eyes, not even like once or even for like a split second, anything like that. Like, he did not look at me at all or address me as a human being, which is not uncommon for him because he is just like such a weirdo and he's so odd. And I don't think he sees me as a human. Like, he just sees me as like this thing that cleans his house for him, which is super cool, makes me feel great about myself, you know. But yeah, that was what happened. And then I went upstairs and I just like could feel this like really weird thing that was going on, because it smelled really badly up there, which is, again, it's not like super uncommon for this house because it never smelled great in there, but it just smelled 10 times worse this time. And like the air was really heavy, so it was really difficult to breathe. And the entire time that I was cleaning upstairs, I was breathing through my shirt, like putting my nose down my shirt to breathe and get like a proper breath. You know, I had to do that because it was just so hard to function up there, and I couldn't really open the windows or anything because I have the cats, so it's really difficult. Anyway, but yeah, I couldn't breathe, and I was just like so weirded out by that because I didn't understand why. I then went into one of these spare bedrooms that they don't use at all, and the door was like closed, of course, because they always are for some reason, I don't know. But yeah, the door was closed, and I opened it up, and the smell in that room was just like so crazy. That room always smells like particularly bad, but this time it was just like horrendous, and I felt so weird about it. And then I saw like all of his clothes were hanging out, so I assumed that all of these clothes were dirty, and most of it was underwear, and I think he just like hangs his underwear up on like the chairs after he's done using it. I don't know why. But yeah, it smelled horrendous in there, and I was just like disgusted by that room because I just like saw all of this underwear and these clothes that I was very like sure were dirty. And it was really gross. And then I went into the bathroom, and the smell in that room was also really bad, which is also not uncommon because they have the cat litter boxes out there, and it's a bathroom, so it's not really like the most pleasant room to be in ever. But it was just like particularly bad to say. But when I went over to the sink, I got the best surprise of my life, I guess. And I was so happy about this because when I looked in the sink, I saw a dirty man diaper, like an old person diaper. And how did I know it was dirty, you ask? Because it was literally yellow and had like the weird colors inside it. Like I saw that there was yellow stuff in there, which I can only assume was urine, and it smelled disgusting, and it had been like closed up like the way that you can close a diaper before you put it in the trash can, because you're supposed to put a diaper in the trash can, not the sink. And I forgot to mention, but before he left the house, like he was coming down from upstairs, so I assumed that he had just been to the bathroom and like used the bathroom and then gotten rid of this diaper, but he didn't want to throw it in the trash can for some reason, even though they have a bunch of those around the house, but he didn't want to do that, so he left it in the sink. And that's just like the most disgusting thing ever. Like, can you imagine doing that when you know that other people, like strangers, well, not like strangers, but like people you don't know that well and you're not like super comfortable around, are gonna be in your house? Like, can you imagine putting a dirty diaper right in their faces? That's so disgusting. And I felt so angry about that because this man is just like so weird, and I've told stories about him before where I said that I've just like felt very weird and uncomfortable around him because he is just like a super strange man. And I just felt so disrespected by him doing this because it just felt like I was being punished for quitting or something, because he was so not happy about me not wanting to work for him, or his girlfriend rather, because I never worked for him. Like, he just started living there while I had been working there for a while, you know. Like, I'm working for his girlfriend, not him. But yeah, I felt so disrespected, and I felt like it was a punishment for me quitting, and I didn't like that at all. And I was just so livid this entire time that I was cleaning this house because I just felt so like disrespected. As I said, it was just so weird and so disgusting, and I didn't know what to do with myself, so I was just like really, really upset. And I've known for a while that he just did not like me at all. I think ever since the first time I complained about him when I told his girlfriend that I didn't want to be around the house when he was there, and I didn't want to work while he was in the house, he's just like had something up against me, which I guess I understand because like it's not fun to know that someone doesn't want to be around you, you know. But like the reason why I didn't want him to be around when I was in the house is because he's such a creep, and he's been like staring at me in such a weird way since the beginning and asking me invasive questions, and that's like a boundary I'm allowed to set. So yeah, I don't know, but that's why I felt like I was being punished for quitting, because he just does not like me at all, I guess. And also when I went downstairs to clean the first floor, because that's where she is, she was also just like asking me a lot of very like invasive questions, and she was really like doubting my reason that I stated for quitting, and I think she definitely knew that more was going on, but like I didn't want to say all of that because I didn't want to tell her that I just really hate her. And she was also just like saying some really, really snarky things to me about me when I was down there cleaning, and it was just a very, very uncomfortable time and experience at that time. And that was second to last time I was there, but then the other day when I went in again, it was like fine, and nothing was like super out of the ordinary. Like the house was really gross, but it just always is, and he was not around when I was there at all that time, so that was really, really good and a great relief, because I don't like him, and I know that he doesn't like me, so it's always like really, really uncomfortable to have to like look at him, you know, and interact with him. Even though he does not interact with me because he just ignores me and pretends I'm not a human, which is super great. But yeah, anyway, I guess that's all I really have time to say. I wanted to say more about her because I could literally go on about this lady for hours, but anyway, that is enough. This video is about to come to an end, so I really should wrap it up right now. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy the video. If you did, please do give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you're subscribed already and you enjoy my content. I would really appreciate it, but you know, you do not have to. Man, I feel like my voice is so rough right now. I don't know what's going on, but yeah, thank you for watching. Bye everyone.